Have you ever wondered how much a full-time artist actually makes in a year? Is that maybe something that you want to pursue? Do you want a realistic view on that? Well, then this video is for you, because I am giving you a completely honest inside view into my income of this year of 2024. Last year I made this video as well. It was my worst financial year so far. The reason I'm making this again is because I want to give a realistic view on how much you can make as an artist and what it actually takes, how much is actually earned by painting. I noticed the most prevalent views online are either the really high incomes or the no income starving artist stereotype. And with this video, I want to show another perspective. My name is Roxy. I have been a full-time artist for 6 years, since 2018 now. I create large-scale oil paintings based on self-portraits that are about taking up space and being as large as you can be. Through my work, I want to comfort my younger self and tell her that it is okay to dream as big as she wants to be. In 2017, I graduated as a fashion designer from art school. And 2018, I started out for myself as a fashion illustrator. And the last few years has been all about pivoting more into fine art. So my practice has been growing with the time into something that fits me better. Since this is a finance video, my income is built up by selling originals, teaching workshops, doing live illustrations, selling prints, having a web shop, and a little bit, tiny bit of doing online stuff like YouTube and Patreon. Very occasionally, I still do illustration commissions, but I don't really do that too much anymore. So before we start, I want to give a little bit of context because income can vary a lot based on location. So I am based in the Netherlands, which is in Europe, so we have euros. And based on a 40-hour work week, the minimum income here is about, let me check, 27,000 euros. That's the minimum. That means about 2,300 per month. And that is before taxes. Our taxes work that if you earn a little bit, then you don't pay as much tax. So that is almost the same as what you would actually receive as a net income. And then the median gross income is actually 44,000 a year. So that is the average. I guess that's something you would call middle class. However, that 44,000 is taxed a lot higher. That is taxed about 37%, I believe. And that median income translates to about 37,000 a month, but that is gross. Now, I know I have a lot of American viewers, so I want to include that we do have a healthcare system. I pay about 150 euros a month to have my healthcare. There is a minimum amount that you pay if you go, for example, to the hospital, but that is about 385 this year, and that is just a maximum amount for the entire year. If you have special care, it could mean that you have to pay more, but most of the higher risk diseases or higher risk healthcare issues are covered by that healthcare. As for pension, if you work for an employer, most of the time that is covered in your actual income. But as a self-employed person, I have to pay for that myself. I have not figured out a way to do that yet, but I do want to do that in the future. Let's take a short look at last year's video because I made some predictions and some planning for this year. Okay, so in order to survive, pay my studio rent, pay my house and my living cost, I would need around 2,000 euros a month. So how am I gonna get that together?
I forgot to mention it in this shot, but the minimum income is actually not my goal. I want to set a goal of 36,000 a year for myself, and expenses will probably stay the same. So to make an overview of that income, originals would be 6,000 euros, live illustrations would be 8,000 euros, Patreon would be 3,000 euros, as well as YouTube would also be 3,000 euros. Teaching, including workshops in my studio next year, would be 6,000 euros. For prints, I would have 2,000 a year, and other like commission illustration would be 8,000 a year. And together that is 36,000 as a 2024 financial goal.
I know some predictions have come true because I divided that income by percentages. Some have definitely delivered, but some have definitely not. So let's look at the numbers by quarter and see how I did. So this is where I get out my cheat sheet because I have been reflecting after every quarter on what I did, what I actually made, the business part, the money part, and the creativity part. And that's because I wanted to start not out by the numbers, but I wanted to start out by emotions, like how I felt. Did I feel tired? Did I feel accomplished? And hopefully by doing that every 3 months, I would kind of see a pattern what could be better or how I could actually make my life better. 3 quarters, I've been discussing that as well with my studio mate. After every quarter, I wrote down how much I had earned per income stream and also how much of a percentage that was to the estimated percentage that I give myself. This might seem very extreme. This is the first time I did this, but it also seemed like a smart thing to do because the numbers don't lie, and sometimes it feels like you're not accomplished in a certain area, or it feels like I haven't sold a painting in months, and it might be true, but if you look back, then you can actually see that, hey, wait, I actually already accomplished that goal that I had made up for myself. It's nice if there's more, but the goal that I had set for myself was already true. So this, I honestly think this really, really helped. I don't have one for the last quarter yet because the quarter is not actually done yet. There's still about 3 weeks in the year, but I wanted to release this video before the end of the year. So let's go to quarter 1. So that's from January to March. Total gross income for that month was 7,020 euros. I did not sell any originals, so that's 0. For live illustrations, I earned 1350. Via Patreon, I earned 285. YouTube earned me 78 euros. Workshop/teaching earned me 1130. Prints earned me about 620. And all the rest earned me about 35.50. And what I mean by the rest, it could be illustration commission or some random licensing deal, for example. So everything that doesn't have a clear category and doesn't happen every month, I put in the rest category. So what happened this year was actually a better quarter, better first quarter than last year, and I think than every year, because normally it's very, very quiet in January and February. But what happened is that I had a big job, a combined live illustration job with illustrations on the side as well. It just that one job kind of add up, and that also led to other live illustrations. I also started my workshops, and those first 2 workshops were quite fast to sell out. I think because people were kind of waiting on when I would open my studio to something like this. And then I also joined an exhibition that were raising funds for Gaza, and I sold quite a few prints there. I live illustrated as well, but all that money was donated. I also have to say that January and February were really good, but then March was crickets, nothing. That is also a weird thing because as you are self-employed, you never know if that is going to happen. It's better to look at the quarters than look at the months, because sometimes you just send a lot of invoices on one day and they get paid in that 1 month. And then you have to wait for maybe 2 or 3 months until you can send again a big pile of invoices, hopefully. Now, before we get to the total amount, I actually want to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led by industry experts in the fields film, writing, creativity, design, illustration, and more. Since this year for me has been entirely about reflection and finding out who I am and why I paint and why I create, I was really attracted to Chidera Ageru's class, aka Slumflower, about embracing and nurturing your authentic self. First 500 people that sign up to the link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. So let's look at quarter 2. My total income in that quarter was $99.35, very specific. The original income was $56.50. My life illustration income was $3.75. My Patreon income was $1.75. My YouTube income was $55. My workshop income was $100. My print income was $180, and rest income was $3,400. This is a weird quarter because it's a really good quarter, but as you can see, it's very different from the first one. And that's because I had my solo exhibition as well as a big group exhibition. In April, I had a solo, which is when I sold a large work. I believe that one was about 4,000 euros. And I received a grant for that exhibition, which was, it wasn't a big grant, it was 2,500 euros. And I have to say a lot of that grant, I think maybe all of it, was spent on materials for that exhibition. Because I had 2 exhibitions, I did not have time for anything else. So I didn't do any workshops. I tried to give myself some rest. It's also because I made a lot of new work for this exhibition, so basically that was it, and that was all I had time for. I'm lucky that with the group exhibition I sold another work, which was a smaller one, but still it kind of adds up. And I sold a work on paper. And funny enough is that in the second quarter with that original income, I was at 94% of my goal for that year, because I had a goal of 6,000 euros for that year. You might also notice that the internet income, like Patreon and YouTube, went down a lot, which is because I think I uploaded less, and I also noticed that I didn't have enough time for stuff like Patreon, so all the promotion stuff for the online stuff went down, and that's also my income that went down there. And the life illustration was so little because that was a self-initiated life illustration and it wasn't something that I was hired to do. Now let's go to quarter 3, which is a little bit sad. This was July, August, September, so those are the summer months. My income for that quarter was $40.50. That's the quarter, that's not the month. Original income was 0. My life illustration income was 2,080. My Patreon income was 120. My YouTube income went up a little bit, was 110. My workshop income was 1510. My print income was 225 and rest income was 0. So that's the first quarter that the rest income was at 0. I went on a holiday the entirety of August, which was very nice. But I have to say that I was really stressed when I came back because I saw my savings go down. And last year, the summer period was actually quite busy, so I didn't know what to expect for this year. I knew that was kind of weird because September is always busy, but then the months before are strange. Sometimes they're busy, sometimes they're not. And this time there was nothing. There was just really nothing. I already had that holiday planned, so I just decided to go. Don't stress about it, but when I came back, I was quite stressed. So all the income that you see here was actually from almost all from that 1 month in September. The reason that my workshop income was a little bit higher is because I started selling a course, a 4-week course in my studio, not an online course. The tickets for that were a lot higher than they were for a regular workshop. I did a few live illustration gigs. I'm really happy that that kind of started happening again in September. and most of them were actually booked from September, so they were last minute bookings. I noticed around this time as well that YouTube was going a little bit up, and Patreon was also going a little bit up, because obviously people are like, the school year is starting again. It's like September, it's getting colder, and I think more people watch videos when it's later in the year. That's kind of what happened in quarter 3. Not much to remark on, just that September was really busy and the rest was not. Now we get to quarter 4, which is now. The day that I'm recording this, we still have like 3 or 4 weeks to go in the year, but I think most of my income has already been, it's kind of set right now. I do still have a market next week, which will probably, I don't know, it will get me something, but not that much. And I think most businesses will start reaching out from next year again, probably around March, honestly. Quarter 4, I earned 6,900 euros. For originals, I earned 2,200. Live illustrations earned me about 2,000. Patreon earned me about 300. YouTube paid me about 500. Workshops paid me about 630. Prints and my web shop earned me about 1,700. And then the rest was about 550. Again, very different quarter this time, but that's because I had my second solo exhibition of the year, and this time it was in a gallery. And this was a lot of work, and because of that exhibition, there are also a lot of things I couldn't do. I couldn't earn an income with workshops because my head was just too full with things. I really wanted to focus this month and November as well on teaching workshops and maybe another course, but it just wasn't happening, and I left a lot of money on the table there. I had a lot of inquiries about the workshops, but I just felt such a big resistance that at some point I just had to accept it's not happening. This was just a bit too busy this year. The exhibition, I think, was very successful. If you want to see how that all worked out, I made an entire series about this of 9 videos. I did not sell a lot during that exhibition. However, it was successful in the way that I think it looked very professional. I have the photos of that whole show. And I have to say that a lot of prints were sold from that exhibition too. I think I earned more from the prints in total than I earned from selling originals, which makes sense because more people are able to buy a print than buying an original. But it did cost a lot as well to organize that exhibition. I think in total it earned me maybe a tiny bit, but I think most of it was just like it came in and it went right out. I did a few live illustrations as well, also for bigger clients, which led to another bigger client, which led to another bigger client. That's just how it goes with those live illustrations, because people see you working somewhere and they're like, oh, that's interesting, I want to book her for something else. And what also happened is that I released a zine, and that zine and the print, by the way, for the exhibition was very popular online, which I'm super grateful about. That in the print and the webshop income, that's why that is so much higher than it is actually has ever been, honestly. One of the goals that I had last year was to have more community income, and I think I succeeded this year, especially seeing that you, and I'm saying you because most of the sales have actually been from the YouTube viewership. Community growth has actually been really big, and I find that very, very cool because that's the direction I want to go in, because I don't have to wait as much on a business to book me. I can kind of create on the support of my community and viewers and people like you, which I think is really cool. And so that last quarter is really cool to see that that actually is working. So I'm getting my cheat sheet again. The total income for this year is around, I'm rounding things down, 28,000 euros. My goal for this year was actually 36,000, so I am 8,000 years. Wow, I am 8,000 euros short on that goal amount. Now, I know why it hasn't reached that goal, because I think my percentages for income, I mean, you make something up. You just have to do something and see how it works. And I know my percentages were off. I know that YouTube and Patreon was way too high. I have not reached that at all. So that takes the entire amount down quite a lot. Let's just go into the percentages for a little bit. The total income for original paintings was 78.70, which is 131% of what I thought it would be, which is pretty nice. That is 28% of my total income. The life illustrations have earned me 5,800 euros, which is 21% of my total income this year. The Patreon has earned me 880 this year, which is 29% of my estimated income, which is not that much. And that is 3% of my income. YouTube has earned me 740 euros this year, and that is just AdSense, that is not this sponsorship, and is about 3% of my total income. Workshops/teaching has earned me 3,370 euros this year, and that is about 56% of what I estimated, and 12% of my entire income. I think this could have been way higher, and I know that I didn't feel like I had enough time this quarter, and I also didn't feel like I had enough time in the second quarter, and I feel like workshops could be handled a lot better. I am apparently, you can find me online because I received a lot of inquiries, but I had also had to really find out how to reply to that, what my actual fee was, and what I found to be an honest and fair fee. And I feel like after going back and forth with a lot of people, I have kind of found out what that is for me. Since it's a new thing, it has been a bit of a learning curve, honestly. Then for prints, I earned 2,730 euros this year, which is 136% of the estimated income. And in total, 10% of my income, which is actually quite a lot. I didn't expect it to be this much. The rest of the income was, so everything with grants and commissions and licensing things that just don't fit into any other category, is 7,500 euros, which is 94% of what I estimated and 27% of my actual income. And that leads to a total income of about 28,000 euros. Then my total costs. My total costs this year were 11,900 euros. And if you get that 28,000 euros and minus the 11,900, let's call it 12,000 just to be easier, you get about 16,000 euros as a profit. 16,000 euros as a profit is not that much, but I have to say a big cost is this studio for me. Per month, I need about, let's round it down to 2,000 a month, but that includes my studio. And if you retract that, I think 16,000 is about the minimum of what I need. Otherwise, I would be spending more than I would receive. I think that is not that great, but I do think, looking at the circumstances, having that many exhibitions this year, so a lot of investments in those exhibitions because exhibitions are expensive, I actually did quite okay. And I think especially the life illustrations going up again and the community growth with prints and with zines selling, I did quite a lot of what I wanted to do. And I feel like, especially with workshops being a new thing, and I had to discover that this year alongside all the other stuff that you already do, I think there's like a lot of growth potential there, which I can lean into next year. So was it a great year? No. In numbers, no, it was definitely not a great year, but I had really good months. I had really good quarters. If I did not have that shitty quarter in the summer, I think the rest of the year would have been a lot better. But I do notice still that I need rest after a very busy period, and that rest costs money. I need the rest. So it's just a balance that you need to find. Like, I need to plan in a certain time of rest, but I also need to finish this stuff. So when is that the perfect timing so that I don't lose too much income? I think this last quarter I chose to get more rest because I noticed that I needed more. So let's do a little bit of reflection on the last year. One big thing that I wanted to do differently this year was I wanted to stop teaching at schools. I noticed that I didn't get enough energy back from it after doing it for a few years, and I wanted to completely change that to workshops in my studio. That has worked out. I did not teach at schools. I did one half day of a class to fill in for someone else, but it has also been a big chunk of income that was pretty secure gone. And that's just a risk that I wanted to take, and I did it, and I'm pretty happy for it. Another thing that I really wanted to do this year was exhibit my work, because I haven't done that too much last year, or maybe not at all actually, and I did that. I did 3 big exhibitions this year, which honestly I think was a bit too much. Next year I want to do 1 maybe, but definitely not 3. I could do smaller group exhibitions if it's maybe 1 or 2 paintings, but not in the size that I've done this year. I think it's been very good for my visibility and also very good for my artist resume, but not very good for my mental health and my quietness that I sometimes need to create, because I haven't even made that much this year. I've made in big energy spurts, so most of it was just collecting or making collections of work that I've already made, and I want to make more new stuff next year. I had a very busy start of the year, which was nice because that led to a lot of security right away, because I knew my income was kind of doing things. And I also did a lot more live illustrations this year, which was also a more secure income. Even though it's not secure, you don't know when you're going to be booked, right? Like maybe months in advance. It is sort of secure since I know like what my fee is. If I get booked for a day or for half a day, then I know what amount that is. So it can kind of, if I have like 1 or 2 assignments every month, I'm good, and I can spend all that other time on my creative stuff. Then another thing was that it was a very quiet summer, and knowing that now, I think I can kind of see what I will do with that next year. That was a very unsure period, and if I know, for example, that I have a quiet summer, maybe I could organize something like a workshop during that time. Just find out something that works during that quiet time. And I didn't reach my goal. I don't think I feel sad about not reaching the goal, because I think I've crossed off a lot of things that I wanted to do. It's always a balance of, oh, I didn't reach it, but I also did the things that I wanted to do. Is it really bad that I didn't reach the goal? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was realistic also for this year. And next year is going to be another thing entirely. I do want to make a planning video again, plan with me, but I don't want to do that in this video. I'm going to do that separately and see how I want to make those percentages next year and see where that gets me, because I feel like I found a lot of things this year that worked for me, and also a lot of things that did not work for me. And I can take that with me into 2025. I want to thank you for watching this full-time artist income video, and I hope it's helped you to get a little bit of a realistic view on at least what I earn. Everything is my personal experience. It can be completely different from someone from the US or the UK or Germany or Japan or whatever. Please take this video with a grain of salt, just one view. I think the funniest comment last time that I did this video was that I earned more than Van Gogh during his lifetime. And top that comment, go for it. That comment alone said a lot of the view on artist income, because it is a job, it is an actual career, and to make paintings in a capitalist world, you need to earn money. Otherwise, there's just no way that you can continue doing what you do unless you have this pot of gold sitting somewhere. But that also means that you're probably depending on someone else to arrange an income for you. If you liked it, like and comment, and I will see you in the next one. Maybe you'll like my entire studio vlog series, because that's what I normally do. Please check those out. And yeah. Bye!